Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sandbox game live stream for Saturday, May 8th, 2021. My name is Joseph, the Vision X Matting. Alongside me, through the magic of the internet, super-powered acrobatic robotic battle voxel artist, Alex Kamisaze Flores. Hi, Alex. How you doing?
Good morning, Joseph. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. You know, Alex isn't the only person here in this call today. It's a very special Saturday. Joining us today for the first time ever on an official live stream, Andy Ritchie. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? How is everyone?
Hanging out, man.
I'm doing
It's
great.
yeah,
It's
it's
a
the normal
beautiful,
average everyday
cloudy
Saturday.
Saturday morning. Nice
Yeah,
stormy
no, it
looking
is
weather.
cloudy here as well too. Maybe there's a cloud over the whole world today. You know what I mean? A lot of weather patterns going on. How you doing, Couch King? I see you in the chat. Crypto Genie, bro, you won last Wednesday with me here on this stream.
Ooh.
Each and every Saturday right here on youtube.com, Twitch TV, Theta, D Live, Facebook, and twitter.com/the Sandbox Game. We work with, interesting, I wrote this poorly. We work with you on the new skills you need to know using the Sandbox GameMaker. If you're watching live with us today, you have a special opportunity where during this stream, you can feel free to ask us anything. From questions about the GameMaker, maybe our asset creation software VoxEdit, questions about the Metaverse, or anything else, including any AMA questions you have about how Andy Ritchie went from someone like you watching this stream each and every week to being live on this stream featured as an awesome, amazing community member creating great things for you in the sandbox. We'll answer these questions live as they come in. And for those questions we can't answer live, feel free to click on the wonderful social channels in the description below this video. Tag us after the show on Discord, Telegram, Twitter, or any of our other great platforms, and we'll get the answer out to you. Of course, if you're watching this later over on youtube.com, you may want to join us. And every Saturday, it starts right now, 1800 UTC. So come back every Saturday, 1800 UTC for these live shows. And those watching live will have the unique opportunity to win a Wizzy the Blue NFT right here on this stream. We'll give more details on that later when we do that giveaway, so stick with us. For now, let's get to the start of the show. All right. Party time.
All right. So real quickly, I want to point out marketplace sales are still going live every week. I think we are going to one per week instead of 2 a week as we have been doing. Just, slowing down a little bit. It's difficult to keep up with so much cool stuff going on. So today, Bunny, who is, or Voxel Bunny, is one of our frequent visitors here, dropped a few new adorable little ghost, this awesome Cosmic Rift superhero. Gas fees are high today, so watch out for that while you're buying, but definitely check these out. Bunny's got some awesome stuff to take a look at. So I wanted to point out something that just happened yesterday. The new version of VoxEdit launched, which is version 10. Well, not version 10, but update 10. It still has the update 8 news here. You can ignore that for now. Cool things to keep an eye out for in this version is that the Voxel importer, the Vox file from Magic Voxel, got a huge new update. And I don't know if this will work if I click on it, because I made this earlier and then I didn't click save, so I'm not sure if it's still here or not. We'll find out. You can import whole scenes from Magic Voxel now. So if you have a multi-object scene, here it goes. There it goes. I made this in Magic Voxel. Good grief. Like early to mid 2019 is forever ago. I haven't touched this file in a real long time. But you can see that there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is way over the face count that we support in the sandbox. It's got 133,000 faces. But it does work just peachy keen in VoxEdit for me. So it groups everything by the layers that you use in Magic Voxel. Not layers, what's the word? I think they're just called groups in Magic Voxel. So like right here, I've got the wheelchair group, and this is made up of a whole bunch of little smaller parts because I planned on animating this at some point. And I've got the elevator group here. It even pulls the names from VoxEdit, or from Magic of Voxel. Sorry, I'm getting my names mixed up here. So I've got this whole elevator section here. It's pretty cool. I'm really excited about this because this will greatly speed up things. If you like building in Magic of Voxel and you want to take your stuff and put it into VoxEdit, this just made the workflow a whole lot faster because it's basically already set up a rig here for everything, and then you can modify it as you need and hopefully optimize it, because this is not at all game optimized at this point. What is the urgency with George Clooney? What about George Clooney? I have no idea
Alex,
what that means.
I have one more thing for you.
Yeah, what's
that I'd
that?
like to feature here
Absolutely.
on the stream. I mentioned it on our Wednesday news piece, and I also got my first scoop this Wednesday. That felt real good. I didn't even know it in the moment when I was recording, but I want to highlight this one more time to emphasize the significance of this. Asia's largest virtual world platform, Zepeto, which has over 200 million lifetime users in the 2 years since launch, is the Sandbox partner. And we are going to have a type of cross-metaverse parallel 3D space where Zepeto is featured in the Sandbox and the Sandbox is featured in Zepeto. And I think that this is great. This is one of multiple different announcements that we got to have this week, talking about kind of interoperability with metaverses, kind of, cross compatibility in a sort of a way. Maybe not directly bringing in their style into the metaverse, but kind of saying like, hey, these guys exist, they have a metaverse, we exist, we've got ours, and if you like what they have, you'll like what we have, and vice versa. And I think that it's really cool to see these kinds of interactions happening, and I wanted to feature them here on this stream specifically, just to say like, welcome, thank you for welcoming us to each of our communities back and forth. But they are a subsidiary of Korea's largest tech conglomerate, and so they're gonna bring a huge Korean influence into our community, and I'm very happy to see that. So, Alex, if you don't have any other pieces of news, I'd like to, in the vein of featuring people, featuring content, while you are working on some of that content today, as we watch this nice video from Zepeto, while you're working on a type of tutorial today, those folks who are looking for tutorials all week long are very likely over on Andy Ritchie's live streams each and every week. And since we have Andy here, I'd like to see the larger community ask Andy specific questions about Andy's experience with the Sandbox, Andy's history potentially, and or anything you want, I guess. And what advanced tutorials do you want to see? That sort of thing on Andy's streams. So let's see what the chat has for Andy here today, and we'll feature that throughout the rest of the show.
Sounds good. Where's your link, Andy? Well, you can find him on Twitter at AndyRitchie12. That's on the screen down at the bottom. How to claim Smurfs? That's a good question. If you have not claimed your Smurf already, let me find the URL here.
Should be nft.sandbox.game.
I believe it is. Yep. So if you go to nft.sandbox.game, the currently available claims will show up. Now, this doesn't mean that they're available to your account. You have to actually click on them. So in the case of the Smiling Smurf, I've already claimed mine. So if I click on claim, it just takes me to it actually shows me a put on sale because I'm authorized to do sales. So you won't see that. But if you have not claimed, you would see right here, it would have a claim button and you'd be able to grab it there. Same with the Coin Market Captain, Wizzy the Golden. Coin Market Captain was for the Coin Market Cap event. Wizzy the Golden's for liquidity rewards. There's going to be another one of those coming up very soon. Inspector Gumshoe was for a treasure hunt with was it on Discord? The Discord community, I think, had a treasure hunt.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's where you can find those things. Orso Blonde says, one thing I would love to see is how to build a multi-level game. Do you build lower level and then add a level and build up? Well, I think Andy Ritchie did a little bit of layered sections in an early game. What's your workflow there, Andy?
When it comes to building a game from scratch, something like the Land of Valentina that we did for the game jam, it's always best to find what the maximum height of your land is and the lowest point, and then work from the very bottom upwards. I find that if you're adding things like trees, buildings, anything with height to your game, they should be done like at the very, very end, because the easier your visibility looking down on your game, the easier it is to get the camera in the right location, move assets around, and change the mechanics how you need. So definitely top down, start from the bottom and work your way all the way up.
All right.
Cool. I see a question that came in for you, Andy. The first question officially on the chat, top to bottom. It says, what's your number one love in gaming? And a little further on that question, they say, I would say that mine is Zelda. This comes from Couch King, which I will say because I cannot say the name. When you say it out loud, it sounds very bad. So, what's your number one love in gaming? What game do you like the most, or maybe a character, and something that maybe inspires you?
I got obsessed with cars at an early age, so I was obsessed with any form of driving game. I think like one of the first games that I really got into and completed was The Simpsons Hit and Run on the PlayStation 1, I think. Nice. At the time. Sure. So things kind of like started from there, and I got obsessed with games like Forza, obviously Call of Duty with friends and stuff. I think gaming was more about the social aspect of it, really, for me. So it doesn't really matter what game I'm playing. It's more about being part of the community, playing with a bunch of friends and enjoying that social experience. But for now, I'd love to be part of the No Pixel server for Grand Theft Auto. And I've only just started digging a little bit more into the VR aspects of things with crypto voxels and stuff like that, seeing where the Sandbox will go in the future.
Very good.
What about you, Joseph? What's your one true love of gaming?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough question. I think that if I was to pick like timeless classics that defined gaming for me, Mario, the original. Okay, we're talking about Super Mario Brothers, not the Donkey Kong Mario, but the Super Mario Brothers NES 1985 is my definitive game. If I play a version of it that has been remastered, like the one they did for Super Nintendo, I hate it, throw it out. If I can't jump, like there's a certain thing you can do where if you are at the bottom of World 1-2, which is the first underground level, it's dark and you can crouch on that pipe and jump at the same time. And while your character is like haunched over, you can glitch through the wall. And then when you go into a pipe, you discover that world number 5, the most hated world in the original game, is the default level of the game. You are swimming, the timer goes on, you get to the end of the map, it doesn't matter, it starts you back at the beginning because you've broken the game.
You've found hell.
And I find it to be the most interesting feature in the history of gaming. But the game that probably defines my more modern gaming, it would be the original Halo, just simply because it was the FPS that made me really like that competitive person-to-person nature. Back then you had to connect your Xboxes locally and do local competition, but now I almost exclusively play games that are direct competitive with other people. It kind of broke me because I don't really like story-based games that much anymore. It has to be super compelling to get me in. But what about you, Alex? What love brought you
Oh,
to
good grief.
staying in this ecosystem?
I mean, it's so I'm in a similar boat of old NES. I like SNES stuff too, but NES was what I always played with my cousin growing up. I didn't have video games at home, so whenever I visited him, it was like it would be like a 72-hour binge of in the basement playing his older sister's games, and we played Mario, we played Zelda, we played Sonic. He had a Sega Genesis also, so we'd play Sonic the Hedgehog. So I those were my real formative games. But for me, it's kind of more. I love so many games, and I love so many different kinds of games. For me, the defining feature of all of them is I really like the feeling of like motion, of like being able to go and do things like run around and do things that I can't physically do. Like I can't, run through a loop or, jump off the side of a building without, fall damage or whatever. So I really like flight simulators, like arcadey flight simulators, like Ace Combat, stuff like that.
Okay.
Project Wingman's the most recent one that I've been playing. A Reckless Disregard for Gravity, stuff like that. So those games that are like extreme with the motion, I'm like this close to getting into VR. It's kind of my thing. If it makes other people get motion sickness, I'm there. I'm all over it.
I played on Wednesday when I was playing a game that was a follow-up to one that you played 2 Wednesdays ago. I noticed that a user finally found out a way that seems like pseudo flight almost. They jumped onto a skateboard and it had a climbable mechanic, and then it kind of moved forward.
I'm not sure how they. So that you think the climb mechanic that's how. I saw a video recording of what you're talking about, and I still am not sure. I guess if you put a ladder on something, so you latch onto it, and then it's got a bird mechanic that turns on when the player's near, maybe that would do it. It wouldn't exactly be like flying because you wouldn't be able to steer it, but you could. What's that, Andy?
You made it climbable and pickable.
Climbable and pickable. Yep. Was
so
that
when
it?
When you grab it, you climb it at the same time, because once it's picked, you're climbing it, and anytime that you simply moved forward like this, it would bring you up at like this weird like 70-degree angle. But I'm going to answer a question here real quick. Beaten Dreams says that I have a question about the game jam. If I select an asset from the market to put it in the game, but then the asset goes on sale, would I still be able to use it in the game jam? If you didn't purchase it, I believe that it's still functional. Alex has mentioned this a few times, so I can say that with some confidence. However, you would not be able to publish that game into the metaverse without owning a copy of the NFT. So it will be able to go into the gallery, yes. But again, I would encourage that if it's a relatively low cost, that you pick up that NFT and support the artists that you want to showcase on the stream when you can. Let's see. Andy, what is your workflow for modeling a character to animate?
I don't really do any animation or any work in the VoxEdit because I'm not good at it. Working with small blocks seems to be so difficult for me, where as soon as I go work with big blocks, everything seems to be perfect and fine.
Sure.
So any of the assets that you see from me have come from ones that my girlfriend has made because she's all arty.
It's great to have a team like that, though. I think that's a wonderful dynamic to have, and two of our what?
I don't know. It looks like you're about to hit the ceiling.
And then I teleported down to the southeast corner.
Which looks like the 0 point of your particular land space.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that.
That's interesting.
So Vlad and Liu, who are husband and wife team in the GameMaker Fund, and two artists. We're both artists in the Creator Fund for a long time. Vlad's been here as long as me, and then his wife joined up, and then they started working in the Creator Fund on a game together, and they're actually in the launch event with is it Tomb of Treasure? It's something like that. The name escapes me at the moment.
I think that's the name of the game. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, look at this dragon just cruising along. No walking. It's just following me like a little bird.
Downtown,
it's a bird template. I just recognized the shape of it.
All right, let's see.
Walking
here.
fast.
If you guys have any specific tutorials for Alex to try to build up work over while we're asking these questions, feel free to drop it in. I can see Alex tried to play with that pickable / climbable mechanic, and you saw how that responds at this time.
It was
so that
kind of
may
like
be a fun feature for your glitch in the metaverse, but I don't know what they did to make it go slightly forward at an angle, but I think that's an interesting thing there. So let's see if I can get
there is one
number
question
2 from Couch King. Did you? Oh, okay, go ahead.
I did see one earlier from Ludacy, asking about an inverse kinematics tutorial. So inverse kinematics is still a work in progress. I know that our staff animators are working closely with the developer for VoxEdit to make improvements to the system, because there are a few things in it that don't perform as expected if you've worked with other inverse kinematics tools. So we're trying to get it to be up to the standard that animators familiar with inverse kinematics would say that this is working the way that it should. So it's a complicated back and forth, because animators can only describe so much of what needs to be done based on their experience, and then the programmer is not an animator himself. He works all in code and stuff. So it's a give and take of information there until they arrive at the right result. So there's not going to be, unless somebody else figures it out and wants to spend the time on it, that's we appreciate that. But until the inverse kinematics is kind of like locked down the way it's supposed to be, there's not going to be an official tutorial for it, just because we don't want to get you feeling real secure and firm in that understanding and then just change the whole program on you. So inverse kinematics is still a work in progress. Use with caution. You're free to experiment with it, but it is there are some major changes planned for it. So stay tuned for that. And Joseph, you had another question.
Yes. So because we're getting traditional questions in this call, I want to answer one that I wasn't going to answer on Wednesday, but I think I'm brave enough to answer it today. And then I'm going to answer a different question first. So I'm teasing you guys. How do you like that? Hi, guys. Will there be some different mechanics for future weapons? For example, I modeled a cool Naginata polearm and was wondering if a thrust type attack can be used currently. So currently, if you hold down the mouse, your character will bring that back just like that and attack forward in a thrust. If you click the mouse, of course, they will slash with it. I like that thrust. Where's that second thrust come from, Alex? Does it hit harder?
You have to. Cool. I think they do the same amount of damage, but you have to slice once and then hold.
And then hold.
So it depends on which side the sword's on when you do the hold.
All right. And then the other question before I go back in time and get back to Couch King's question for Andy says, hi guys, just wanted to ask when preseason 0 will launch to test out the games, or has that already passed? I read that it was in Q1. So originally we wanted to put it inside that Q1 window for this year. And we started reworking some systems on the back end that push back that development time frame. Currently, it is targeted for summer of this year. So the reason why that has happened is because of a few things. One being we were working on some pieces, and the development team had agreed that presets inside the GameMaker needed to be reworked to be more optimized so that your users don't lag out when they're playing your games. And in doing so, the community kind of stepped up and said, hey, we need that. Actually, we need presets. So the team had to, again, refocus and say, okay, we can bring it back faster than we expected, which pushes back some of that preseason content. Also, we've been spending a lot of time as a big group internally. We're talking like somewhere between 50 and 100 people on any given Friday, and going and play testing specific larger social spaces with different mechanics that weren't initially considered social mechanics. Different worlds, those sorts of things. Doing the same things we normally do here on Wednesdays, where we try to intentionally break things and push the limits of the tech that we have developed. So right now we've gone from a maximum potential online concurrent of like 30 to about 40, 42 that we can have concurrent in a social space because of some of these optimizations, and some other features. So just know that these setbacks are actually helping create a better quality product for you in the end. So, and then, Andy, just for you, question number 2. Being you're from the UK, what is your favorite football team? And just to be clear for our American audience, football is a game where you kick a circular ball into goals on a 90-meter pitch. This is not egg ball. I'm just having a joke. Anyway, so what's your favorite football team, Andy? What's your favorite sports game? And their they say that their favorite sports video game was Super Tecmo Bowl, which is hand egg for those folks in America.
Hand egg.
Hand egg.
Just like that's what I think everybody knows.
Like it's rugby for wimps, I think is the.
There it is. That's a good yes. Who puts on pads? Come on.
Helmets?
I played rugby twice.
What? And you lived?
So
And once I had 12 stitches in my leg, and the second time I broke my arm. So.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I've played touch football and I didn't get a scratch. So.
Football. Manchester United is my football team. I grew up in Manchester, and like the school I went to, Brian Giggs, one of the famous United footballers, went to there, and a few other people were from Salford, the area I was from. So I grew up watching United, and then eventually got a season ticket and went to United for 7 or 8 years, which was good. And then stopped going, but stopped going because I started doing motocross instead, and unfortunately couldn't go to the football matches at the weekends.
All right, Paco Moya, I'm gonna address a question that they have over on Twitch. It says, I have many claimable assets on the nft.sandbox.game link, but I'm only able to claim the Smurf. What do I need to do to claim the other assets? So the answer to that is that you would actually have had to do some things in the past, and we have all of the all-time available redeemable NFTs where you had to do a specific, let's say, objective in order to claim. So the Wizzy, the golden NFT, was available for those who provided liquidity to the liquidity pool on Uniswap before December 21st of 2020. What are the other assets on there? I know the Smiling Smurf is for people who owned land before a certain date. The Coin Market Captain was available for those people who, before, I think it was 1 week after the Coin Market Cap sale, if at the end of that first week you had owned all of the Coin Market. Sorry, I'm thrown by it saying Captain. Coin Market Cap assets. If you owned all 5 of the main Coin Market Cap assets, you would unlock Coin Market Cap 10. And so you could click on that and redeem it if you had owned all of those assets before the date 1 week after the start of the sale. And then Inspector Gumshoe was for a kind of bounty over on our Discord. So you would have to do all of those things with specific kinds of rules to be eligible. If you owned a land at the end of the Smurf sale, that's how you were eligible for the Smurf. So Couch King says that no, I'm a Man City fan. Now you're my mortal enemy, Andy Ritchie 12. How do you like that?
Yeah. Sorry about this, Couch King. We are no longer friends.
That's great. Now, it's that's the thing about sports. It's like in the moment you're like, no, you're the guy. That's not my team. But you can always sit across the living room from somebody and be like, I hope your team loses, but you're still a great person. Also, your team needs to lose.
I suppose if Manchester City wins, at least Manchester won. That's one way of looking at it.
There you go.
And it's better than Liverpool winning, and that's. I think he'll agree on that.
All right, let's see if I can find. Why is there a red square on the mega attack?
So I sort of you were in the middle of saying everything, so I sort of displayed it. So what's going on is I'm holding the attack, and this is the range. Well, it reaches past the range, so you can go all the way back here, and I should. Oh no, that was too far away. Okay, so it's the max range here. That's where it hits. So it has to be within the longest bar, but you can end before it gets there, and that just determines the strength. So the longest bar right before it automatically fires, that's the actual range for any of the attack, and then it just gets the bar gets bigger to show that it's going to be a harder hit. So I think full power is 74 there, and let's see, 1 is 5. 11, 31. Oh, I had a critical attack, I think, that 74.
Seeing a lot of football talk in the chat, folks.
All three of my
you.
Oh no, clankers.
Liverpool run. I think that to kind of address that question, obviously that's where you are going to hit, but why is that hitbox shown on the screen? If I was to guess, so we have a QA team that will get feedback for each one of these features, and they will reach out to a small handful of people. They are not necessarily the same people. Before, like right as I was first getting onboarded as an official, the Sandbox staffer, I was part of one of these surveys, so I know what it feels like. And they'll just say like, "Hey, you did this today. What did you think about this, that, right?" And then if after you send in your form, if you have a further question, they may call you, they may email you and say, "Hey, you submitted this you didn't like, or this you loved," right? And it may be one of those things where you're attacking and somebody says it's unclear how far away you hit from, and let's make that more clear. And then a UI element like this or UX element like this would pop into the game. So let's see. Any more questions for Andy? Andy, I have some questions for you. You more recently sat in a call with me and quite a few other people talking about what your new role is with the Sandbox. What are some of the day-to-day things that you do, Andy, now with the Sandbox as an official staff?
It's the last week I have been absolutely overloaded with information from all different angles in regards to the content, the actual information about the Sandbox, the features and stuff. It's blown my mind at some of the stuff that you guys are working on. But in reality, in a day-to-day aspect of it, at the moment, my main approach to it is trying to understand what you guys want. So sitting in the Discord, answering some of the support questions and being there for the community members and seeing where we lack that support and what we can do about it, what documents we can produce, what videos, how we can help new members come into the community. I'm also doing more content. There's more YouTube videos that have been going out in the last couple of days for tutorials with the GameMaker, so I'm not that good with VoxEdit at the moment. So everything is just how to add assets, how to use blocks, add and remove them, and some of the features. We also did teleport video tutorial on there. Then at the same time, I've been speaking with some internal staff and trying to build some communication bridges between the GameMaker Fund and the teams that we've got on board in there, and help with information, features, and just relaying communication between everyone. So hopefully I can kind of be a bridge between the community and help with any questions or support anyone's got. And if anyone needs certain tutorials and videos, please shout away in the chat and I'll make them more of a priority. There's also a lot of technical documentation that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks to do with tutorials, and we're going to start getting into some really complex features as well. I've found out how to basically build a computer in the sandbox, so we can start producing sequences and having worlds change in front of your eyes, basically. Yeah, I'll show you on the chat if you want, Alex. We can. It's quite simple.
Oh, right now.
It depends how depends how detailed you want to go, but it's quite simple to start.
I think we can do it in 20 minutes.
I think we can do it.
Build a whole computer in 20 minutes.
Sure, let's go challenge Intel and AMD here. Let's see what we can do.
There it is. So while we do that, one of the things that I'd like to highlight that I think is one of the most important things that Andy is doing. Andy, you mentioned just now that you want to be a bridge between the community and the staff, right? And what that means to me the most is that people can provide feedback kind of in your direction and say, hey, here's a feature that I like the idea of, right? Here's a feature that I could use put into the game or adjusted in the game, that sort of thing. That kind of feedback I think has been it's been there, right? We've had some channels for it, but when it comes to what we saw when we took presets out to make the change, and we're going to be putting them back in the 0.7 update. But when we took those out, we were under the impression that they weren't widely used, right? They were just a feature or a tool that you could use, but when it came to making things more optimized, the benefits outweighed the negatives, right? And then we took out those presets, and there were quite a few people who were like, whoa, I needed that. I was using that right now, right? And so I think that what you're doing will be critical to help us kind of determine when we're going to make a change like that. Hey, how many people are using that right now, that sort of thing, and get that feedback from the community.
Yeah, 100%. And I think some of the things to do with presets can be done a little bit differently, and it was a case of not having all of that information accessible to the users of which ways we can work around the system with presets, because in some cases you might add you want to add 2 behaviors to an asset, and that's where it becomes a problem because there's only one allowed. And the first way to get around it really is just to see if you can utilize a component and utilize a different feature from there to replace having 2 behaviors. So a lot of the presets issues I think people had, we've worked around, and it's just a case of getting that information out there to the people. But everything's quite new in the GameMaker, and as time goes on, people are going to utilize different features and find what works best together for their games and their functions. Because I'd say 80% of the features at the minute, everyone is kind of pushing to the boundaries and using birds' behaviors as definitely not as birds, and platforms and things like that. We're adapting and really thinking outside the box. So with regards to the presets, when they do come back, I think the games are going to even step up another level and become more complex because people have worked without those features.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I would agree with that. I think we saw that when they really started to come into their own in the earlier preset editions. You've seen like elevators be created. You've seen, I think the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game was built on the concept of the presets, that sort of thing. Obviously, teleportation, you made it without presets, but it was originally made with presets in mind. So that sort of thing will, like you say, really step up. So, okay, Andy, you want to see if you can get a
yeah,
piece
we've got
running
it.
here
Are you
with
putting it
Alex?
in the Discord chat? Because I can't see the Discord chat right now.
Oh, no, I was just going to say to you how to build it if you want. We just need numpads.
Oh, we got numpads for days. We got so many numpads. Get in there, feed the dragon. I'm just making a little monster
So
rancher game here.
I think we can also do
Hey, there we go.
teleports without using any of the basic, any of the default features as well.
Really? So we on
Yeah,
stream a couple weeks ago we did it with using the default messages and stuff like that. So you figured out a way to do it with custom messages?
yeah. So at the moment, the one that I did on the YouTube channel is just there's only one custom message, and that is the default kill, and then you change the avatar custom message to whatever you want. Then now we can do it without having the kill message on the platform if we use a void be there as well. So
Okay.
it'll be a little more complex because there's another asset, so there'll be 4 instead of 3. But if you have the void with a behavior, you can have the behavior turn on and off to delete the spawn that's been activated.
Okay. So so for those of you who weren't here a couple weeks ago, what we set up here was 5 sections and two assets per section. So we would have one that was an asker, and it would ask which of the other 4 sections you want to go to, and each one would have a message associated with that. We use just the default A1, A2, A3, A4.
Yeah.
And then when those would set off the A1, you would go over to, I think it was this corner. Yeah, it has A1, which is a spawner, spawns out another little pad which has the respawn tag, and it's also killed, I believe. I'm trying to remember where the death is. Where does the killing happen? I think it's on the tag spawner physics message required health. Oh, because it spawns with the health. So in triggering A1, it also, my brain is failing me, or my memory is at least. Message broadcaster tags spawner health, no collision. What fired out the respawn? Oh, it was the death of the player, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Controller components, respawn tag, message sent on death is kill, and then what is? Oh,
Message sent on death is
it's
kill,
trigger.
because it's it.
Yeah, the instant death message is trigger. That's what I was missing. So by interacting with this and selecting A1, the spawner by default sends out trigger.
So
yeah.
On the one I did, we don't need the trigger.
Okay.
So
let's do that.
You can have the same that you've got. Ask the questions. We need to have an item like the numpad. I just used a stop sign on mine.
Okay. So we've got a thing here.
Before we go any further, really quick, I just want to mention that inside the chat right now, there is a link for a form that can help you win a Wizzy the Blue NFT asset for watching this stream here today. So if you've missed it, make sure you scroll up on that, get a little click, fill out that form. There's 88 responses already. So go ahead.
Do it now.
Thank you.
Quick, fill it out.
All right.
We need it to be an asset spawner.
Okay. Assets.
And we also want it to be a speaker as well.
Okay. And speaker. All right.
So if we just spawn a stone carving, and stone carving is going to have the stone carving. Yes. So, sorry, the speaker is going to detect the avatar.
All right.
And it's going to send a message when it detects the avatar. And we did the message as kill as the instant death message.
All right.
So then we also need to put a stone carving on the floor, or a numpad, let's say, on the floor. And what basically is going to happen is we'll speak to the sign and the game machine that you've got. We'll speak to that and it'll ask the question of where we want to teleport. When we choose to teleport to this numpad, it's going to spawn the asset on the floor. Once the asset has been spawned, the stop sign. Give me a second. I'm getting myself all confused.
That's all right. How about I go to a new? I'm going to go to a new map, so that way we don't have anything interfering from the stuff that's already set up in there.
Yeah, I'll tell it nice and simple for you in
Okay.
steps.
All right. Here we go. Okay, so we're grabbing. You said a stop sign.
Yeah, stop sign.
Be easier if we use the right. I don't have a stop sign. Maybe it's just a sign.
Just a sign will do then. It was on the asset, so that was all.
All right. So we got the sign.
The sign is going to ask the user where they want to teleport. So it'll be an asker, and then you'll have the 4 locations. In my case, I did like 3 locations, and I gave them the option to say no, they didn't want to teleport.
And just no message on that one.
Yeah. Then we need to have your spawn point. So an asset that I used a stop sign because it was natural would be put into the world somewhere, and it's quite obvious. So it's just something where your avatar will spawn at. It can be invisible if you want. And that's going to be an asset spawner and a speaker.
All right. So we've got the sign that's got the asking. And we've got our 4 answers.
Somewhere else. The numpad is where the avatar will move to, so that wants to be at the other location.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so we'll put this over here, and we've got our 3 messages, and the fourth one is none, and then we're gonna say over here will be spot 1.
Okay. So the numpad will be an asset spawner.
Okay. All right, it is an asset spawner and a speaker, right?
Yeah, it can be the same thing, can be both.
Okay.
And then it's going to spawn a stone carving. And it's going to have a tag as checkpoint, in my case, or respawn point, or however you want.
Oh, the global parameters, we're going to say controller for the player, we respawn to checkpoint. Okay. And we want to add that checkpoint tag to the stone carving. Yep. So tags, checkpoint. Okay.
It's also got the stone carving that spawns is also going to have a health component.
All right.
So it's a. Sorry, go on.
And that's so it has that default kill message on it.
Yep.
Okay.
And the message required to spawn that asset will be the location you chose from the sign.
Okay.
Then if we go down to the speaker component, so it's also going to be a speaker as well, which will detect that the avatar has arrived at that location. So it's going to detect the entity of the avatar.
Okay.
And it's going to send the instant death messages, kill. Sorry, the message when spoken to is kill.
My brain is not.
That's right. The bottom message is kill.
Because it says message when spo, and so my brain was not filling in spoken at the end there. I was like, message when spo. What is spo? Okay. All right. So we've got the kill there. Do we need to change that on the player? That their message isn't kill also?
Make the global parameters and then the controller and components.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have the death delay as -2. We should have the message sent on death as kill with a capital K. Capitals, I have found that they matter as well.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it's all case sensitive.
So my instant death message for the avatar is just kill avatar.
Okay.
Yep, and that's everything for the global parameters. So at the bottom,
is kill avatar with a space, or is there one that had no space?
It's not a default message, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So at the bottom of your asset spawner now, you want to put another item there that'll be no collision and invisible, and this will be a speaker.
I see what you're doing here. I
I
figured out your plan.
So this will detect the entity with the tag checkpoint.
Why am I? Oh, because I clicked behavior, not speaker. There we go. So this is looking for the checkpoint, and that's going to send the kill avatar.
Yeah. So it works. It's basically foolproof, hopefully, in the way that each step has to be completed in a certain process, so that it's impossible for it to bug out. So in the way that it works is that once you ask to teleport, it spawns the checkpoint. It notices that the checkpoint has been spawned. It kills the avatar. And when the avatar has arrived, it detects it and it kills the checkpoint underneath.
Very cool. Okay.
So instead of having the health component as a default, what we can do is have a void there, and we can kill the checkpoint that has been spawned with the void. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. So that's on the. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, does it? It does matter because this one's a spawner. So this one is a void that's getting rid of the spawned checkpoint, right?
Yeah, we just need. Yeah.
Okay.
So you speak to the sign. The sign sends the message to spawn the checkpoint on the floor. It notices that the checkpoint has spawned, and the speaker sends a message to kill the avatar. The avatar arrives at the new location, and then once they've arrived, the void activates and kills the checkpoint that has been spawned.
So are you calling the void with a message, or do you just have it on all the time?
No, the void will be a toggle behavior. So what the void will have to turn on when the avatar, either when the avatar has arrived, the void will have to turn on, just kill the health component.
I think maybe I missed something there. So I've got I've got this spawning the stone carving, and it's the stone carving that we want the void to get rid of. So I've got that on the to destroy list. Was that it?
So the void at the minute is on the start, so it will destroy before. Oh. I'm confused now. It's hard. It's hard watching you like 30 seconds behind.
Yeah,
but
I know. It does get difficult. So it worked the first time. That the I think the reason you need the void is because you want this to work across multiple points. And right now we only have it set up for one, so it's like it's working by default, but it wouldn't necessarily work with more than one. So or we can get rid of these, and we're gonna duplicate the sign out and do one.
So this gets rid of the trigger default being required, which means I know a lot of the assets spawn with the trigger as a default message, which meant it would mean if people have built their game already and were adding this in afterwards, it would cause a lot of problems potentially.
Wait, I just killed the sign. How did I do that?
The void, you need to exit it from the don't destroy list. Only destroy assets from list.
I do have it only destroy from list stone carving.
Wes, I saw your video that you'd sent.
Oh.
There's a health component on the sign that doesn't need to be there. That's why.
Sorry, I'm seeing this in the chat. Let me see if I can add that to the list while it's up. For some reason, right? Like I open it up and I'm looking at that video and I'm like, here, okay, I see it. I'm gonna get it there, and then I'm not at my computer. I think we're like way on the opposite world, kind of. Let's see.
A2. Okay. So now we should have two spots working. There's spot one. I like how the numpad greets me hello. And spot two. And back to spot two. Okay. There we go. So I'm not sure, because I think maybe the void is redundant because that stone carving was disappearing before because we have that kill message.
The void isn't required, but if we want to, the void was just me showing you how to go a level deeper and stop using the instant, the default message that is kill.
Okay. As an alternative, right? Got it. Okay, yeah. So if you wanted to use kill for something else in your game, you could by using the void. Okay, I thought you were trying to say that I needed the void and the kill message, and I felt like that was a little over void to do that. So
so it'll work without the void.
Joseph got it.
I got the joke.
I'm
Wes,
sorry, I'm being sassy.
Our chat log. I want to address this.
Sure.
Wes, I see our chat log on Twitch from super long ago. And when I tried to backtrack it through our forum, we didn't used to date up until like February. We didn't put dates on the forum, so I couldn't find you in the forum. But I do remember that and saw the video. So I've added you into that forum for the Wizzy NFT that you should have earned way back in like November.
Oh, gee.
Apologize for that. It's been that long. Yeah.
Whoa. Sorry about that. We will fix that.
It's all good.
Maybe
it's all good. We'll get it.
Maybe not today because the gas fees are a little ridiculous.
Gas fees are crazy right now. If we tried to send it over, it'd be like $120 to send. Yeah. So
maybe
soon.
Yeah. In the next week for sure.
But now, the way that the process normally works is that I'll take your name from the forum, I'll take your address from the forum, and I think this is even before we were doing the forum. It's been so long, Wes, but I'll paste it into a Google Doc now, so Alex can see it. Sorry, I said Andy. That's funny. So Alex can see it as we go, and when gas fees are somewhere in the target of like 50 Gwai or less, then we do a big send out. So hopefully it won't be too long. Now hopefully gas fees can get down off this crazy 200 plus Gwai time period that it's undergoing at this time. I know it's a killer.
It is. Oh, can't wait for that layer 2. I mean, not that that's going to help with OpenSea stuff, but can't wait for that layer 2.
I think OpenSea is already in its own layer 2.
But would that allow us to send already minted items on layer 2?
No, it still has to transfer from the layer 1 into the layer 2 first before, if it was always on network. See, what I can't wait for, Alex, is for the Sandbox to have its own layer 2 service, which is currently in production.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
So,
I can't wait for that to be around, so that way asset sales on the marketplace are nice and easy.
Agreed. I agree. I'd love to see some just in-network kind of trading going on back and forth between users too. That'll be a fun. I mean, these things are right around the corner, but it's always it'll always be nice to see, like, hey, I have this, like I have some of those extra fruit bats that you sent me some time ago, and just to take those and be like, hey, here for a user who requests one, throw it up there. Actually, just thinking about it, I'm going to put in a feature request for a private trade. I wonder if that's already in the works or not, and I'm just not aware of it.
I don't know. That would be cool, though.
Yeah. That way I could send something to you specifically, or to Andy, or the Couch King in the chat, or Smobler Studios that I'm seeing their names on my screen right now, and just go like, here, for 1 sand, it's yours, or whatever the minimum is that I can do. But that'd be nice.
I think you can on OpenSea.
You can on OpenSea
send
for
a
sure.
single address. But
yeah. The only issue with that is that OpenSea.io is still going to be charging the fee for me to take it from the layer 1 into their layer 2 service, and where the transfer from user to user there, once it's already on there, is cheap, right? But getting it on there is expensive. So this asset that I might want to sell for $5, $10, even $100 right now, the gas fee is such that it's $100 to transfer an asset from user to user on the ETH network, because something came out today. I know Uniswap v3 is undergoing an update from v2 to v3 on Uniswap, and then there was, what was that other thing we saw in the chat earlier? I don't know, something new came out. Looks like the gas price is down about 50 right now, but something called a Shibu Inu token came out today, I guess. You know how it is. There's always something new, but
because Doge wasn't enough.
Yeah, it's like just like Doge, but not, I guess. We'll see.
It's like Dogecoin, but we're going to take it seriously this time. That's
hey, if you're not taking Dogecoin seriously at this point, you're like most people, I think. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I don't know. I made a 10 times investment on Dogecoin.
The website does say it's a meme token. So what are you gonna do?
Oh, let's see.
Just downloaded the new Voxedit, but when I click to open models or animations, it crashes. Suggestions on what files may be needed, or may need to be deleted to fix it.
Okay, so models or animations, if it's crashing, so I'm guessing that means when you click on the modeler or animator tab, it's crashing. So if that's the case, you want to go to, what's the folder? I believe it's, yeah, so you want to go to your user folder. So C drive /users/computer. Well, mine's computer. When my computer was set up, the username was set as computer, and now I can't change the folder name to Alex or whatever. It's like set as computer. Sure. It does, like, when I click away from it, it does display my name, but if I look at the actual, like, hard-coded drive address, it says computer, which just is confusing because generically it's like, oh yeah, it should say computer. No, it's whatever your username is. So it's C users, your username /VoxEdit. And then you want to delete recent modeler and recent rigger. So if it's crashing when you open up those tabs, it's because there's some corruption with the history. if you had a crash previously for some reason, that can be what corrupted the recent stuff. Or if you I'm going to tell you a way to corrupt it on purpose. not that it means anything, but if you have your recent files open and you delete a file, one of those files in your file browser, not in VoxEdit, and then you go to click on it, at least it used to, I don't know if it still does, VoxEdit will crash on that because you're telling it to open a file that's at an address that doesn't exist anymore. So it's and then usually that would corrupt the recent files. So then anytime you went to go and open something on a modeler or the rigger or animator is what we call it now, it would cause those crashes. Still crashing after those are deleted. Then I would say delete the config file here, and that will basically reset VoxEdit to its default settings. Other than that, if it's simply just opening up the tabs and it's crashing at that point, when you click on these, usually the only thing is getting rid of the recent file. Otherwise, I would say the config file. I would just do like a fresh install, so like delete your whole VoxEdit folder and unzip those files and put them back. And that's about all I've got for that. I've never encountered a situation where deleting those 3 things or doing a fresh install has not fixed a crash. It may be some deeper issue, in which case I would say email me your log. So if you've got, let's go back to VoxEdit. If you go to your logs folder here, you grab the most recently modified one and send that to me. You can. It's easier to message me on Twitter. So you go to at Kamisazi and put it in the chat on Twitter, and I check those messages very frequently. So you can send that. I don't think you can send the text file through Twitter, but you can send like a Dropbox or Google Drive or WeTransfer link to it, and that should be enough. All right.
Cool.
I saw another question in there earlier that I don't think we got to. It was like when, and I'm not sure who exactly it was directed at. I think it was by Couch King. When did you get into graphics art? For me personally,
yeah.
I got into graphics art. In 1994 or so. I mean, it's not it wasn't really into graphics art, but that was, somebody had downloaded. Oh, I'm going to drop the name of a movie here that I don't expect anybody to know, but it would be kind of cool if somebody did. Was it called Chanticleer? So there's a story.
No idea. Yeah.
There's a story from, I think it's from, I'm going like way off to the side of the actual question. I believe Chanticleer is one of the Canterbury Tales. And I don't remember what the actual Canterbury Tales story of Chanticleer is, but I just remember the name from that. And it's about a rooster. And I think this is something about a rooster that was super vain or something like that. Geez, I'm old.
Yeah, you are. I'm just kidding.
I'm turning 32.
Oh, well,
I would have been 4 or 5 years old when this story happened. So anyway, there was a animated movie about Chanticleer, but the movie might have been called Rockadoodle. I just remember there was like,
oh yeah.
Was that the name of the movie? Okay,
sure.
so the movie was called Rockadoodle, but the cartoon character that was a rooster was Chanticleer. Looks like 44. I look like 44. I have always been told that I look old, but anyway, so it's one of those mixed live action cartoon movies, kind of like what's the one with Macaulay Culkin, the wizard, the book, book page master.
Alex, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Reaching into the way back.
I'm
machine,
reaching
Alex.
way back. Like something you haven't seen since it came out on VHS from your local Best Buy, or I didn't even have Best Buy. I had a local video store, the Video Zone. Anyway, So this movie, they released like coloring pages on floppy disk or something. I remember somebody had a DOS computer with whatever Microsoft Paint was called back then, and you could use the bucket tool and you could fill in with colors, and it was like a 256 color machine, all like, bright cyan and crazy colors. So this was my formative experience of using MS Paint to color things, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I mean, I always loved drawing and coloring ever since before I could remember. So that was my first foray into digital art. My grandmother got me some like really professional vector graphics software when I was in middle school. I got Coral Rave 2. It was a real animated vector effects when I was like 12 years old or something like that. And I started trying to do vector animations. It was a little bit too much for me, but I still appreciate that. I still have the disc. I got really into pixel art because of Bionicle, the Lego Bionicle forums. A lot of people were working with early versions of GameMaker back before it became GameMaker Studio, and RPG Maker back when it was not legally translated into English. It was still only in Japanese. So I started getting really into pixel art. I never made a lot of pixel art, but I was very much about learning about pixel art back then in middle school and high school. And then went to school for graphic design and illustration. And then I started getting into voxel art really heavy about 4 years ago now, 3 years, something like that. 2018, I want to say. Three and a half years, something like that. So it was called Paintbrush. That sounds right. I choose to believe that as true. In 1994, that was probably what it was.
My personal foray into graphic arts and designs doesn't reach back that far. Yeah, maybe like 15, I think. 15, I started using Photoshop extensively. The Adobe Suite is like my life. I can pretty much do anything, anytime at this point. And I think like peak interest in that, I like to design things in Photoshop from scratch that look 3D but aren't 3D. And I know now modern, like you can import things that you've created in Blender or whatever. But I still don't do that. If I want to create something highly technical, I'll spend 20 hours doing it in 2D and kind of painting it or drawing it in as like a creative outlet. But that's me personally.
Andy Ritchie's dropping Spoin in the chat as proof of your labors.
Oh, that's true. That's Spoin. It's funny because that Spoin, while it took some time, like I look at that, and as many people do, there's a rule for artists, and there are two phases of a piece of art: when you start and when someone else tells you it's done. Because otherwise you'll just keep going and you'll keep trying to change it and perfect it and adjust it and all that sort of thing. And I look at that and I'm like, oh, maybe it needed this thing or it needed that thing. That being the first one, when I made the second Spoin, which I made just for a charity event, that I was like, let's spruce up the background, let's make it a little shinier here, let's make sure that every little edge has a glisten to it, that sort of thing. So you can definitely. How did you afford Photoshop at 15, Grump? I started using Photoshop in school.
Ooh.
And when I used Photoshop on my personal time, I got letters from the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Really?
So I stopped doing it that way. Yeah, because I downloaded it illegally like a bad person. Don't do that. Nice. Today,
you're the first person I've spoken to
$10 a month as a photographer, which is a fantastic deal because it used to be like $1,000 up front.
Yeah.
So it was some time before I got back into it outside of my place of education. When I was finally able to afford it after saving up for a long time with a paper route and or traditional job once I got into that age. But yeah, so I was a bad kid. I'm not going to talk about any of the potential services that I may or may not have used to acquire that software. That was bad kid time. Don't do it. Don't do it. But Alex,
Yes.
we are now 16 minutes past the hour. How you feeling?
I'm feeling
Got any
pretty
more fun tales to tell? You know, we didn't even. I feel like such a jerk. I don't see him on the screen, so I don't think.
Oh.
Andy, what made you the artist that you are today?
Well, he said he's it's his girlfriend, right?
Because
So-
I bought land. There it is, folks.
Oh,
Sandbox, changing lives every day. Here we go.
There's more details to it than that. I wanted to get into crypto a couple of years ago and like stopped really at a few points because it all got a bit complicated quite quickly. And then I came back to it with like the pandemic and everything that happened, spending a lot more time at home. I just kind of jumped into it and very quickly found the Sandbox and luckily bought land back in the Smurf sale, I think, which was like October, November.
Forever.
And then I think since then I joined the streams and was like watching you guys test the games that people were building at the time. I think there was a game jam currently going on then, number 2. And watched for a few weeks and then sat back and was like, okay, I need to do something with this piece of land that I now own. So I bought a PC. Well, I bought the bare basics of a PC and started building. Followed Joseph and Alex's feedback. They played the game on stream, and to be honest, if they do play your game on stream, I'd soak up everything that they say. Watch when they play other people's games. There's so much advice that they've got to give you, and take everything on board. And it makes a real big difference to the games that you do build. And luckily, I got in the top 10 of the game jam. And then put all of that money back into a better brand new PC and kind of buried my head in it a lot deeper, and here we are. Yeah, it's been in a very, very quick process the last couple of months. Like maybe I only found the Sandbox 7-8 months ago, and now we're here. It's a crazy journey, but I've enjoyed every step of the way up to now.
Well, it's been a good journey, Andy. I'm gonna say there's the rapid way that you went from getting that feedback, and I'm kind of seeing that in this jam too. I'd like to see it more. I'd like to see more users take the feedback and translate it into content. And I did another one this last Wednesday where I feel like that may be the case, where we're going to start to see some more of those like rapid turnover. You know, I can't think of the username in the chat right now, but gosh, I'd love to. I think it may be Loy Loy. Yeah, like Loy over on YouTube. Yeah, that's one of the users that's doing it. But there was another one that like really just started their game.
Cheesy potatoes.
Yes, gosh, look at you. See, a young mind, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, Andy Ritchie has got like 7-8 years under me in age. And SM Watson 08 asks, how old is Joe? Joe is
too old.
Almost 34 now, and things are slowing down. You know what I mean? Like you gotta, I try to do things on the fly. Always have done things on the fly, but but my last 10 years or so more of a personnel management kind of person, and doing marketing and that kind of thing. So I'm very like hyper focused on those tasks now, and less so on that like, hey, I can wing it and do things. Memory is not a thing at all anymore for Joe. I wish that was the case, but it's just not. It's like, did I put it in a notepad? Where's the email? Where's the timestamp? You know what I mean? That's where I'm at with the way that I operate these days. But 1987, that is accurate. That is accurate. When I say math, that's what I have to do. Go back in the Wayback Machine. Let's see. Smubbler Studios says they worked as a concept artist for a Flash game company. And the sister company on the same floor is an inappropriate content website that I can't say on this stream. So there's a police raid every few months.
Whoa.
Sorry about that. That's a shame. That's a real shame. That is a real shame.
Wow.
Well,
that's
what an interesting life we lead. You know? An interesting life we lead. Listen, Alex. Andy. That's the wrong song. That was too hard. We're going.
That sounded like
We can do that. I can just take it to 11 real quick, apparently. That's not the normal playlist that I like to run right here on this stream on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Theta, Facebook, and twitter.com/the Sandbox Game. It's been a great show. Look at Alex Pardio.
Oh, who won the Wizzy?
This week was won over on YouTube by Shadow Stalker. So I didn't want to interrupt conversation because I feel like I do that too much right here on this stream. But it's enough time for conversation.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks, Andy.
That's right.
Everyone's asking about the Wizzy joke.
Oh, we gave it away. I'm sorry. Did you? Were you not able to hear me? Could you not hear me before? Shadow Stalker. There we go. It did get through. It was just with the music. You know what I mean?
Well, thanks everyone. See you later, guys. Cheers, Joe. Cheers, Alex.
It's been a great stream. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video.
Oh, yeah.
I made my beat. Actually, Boss RC505 made my beat. I just kind of started playing it. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not. We're going to turn it down. For what?